Hello and welcome. My name is Sachin Bramhe. I'm with Avaya Serviceability Engineering. In this video, we'll talk about how to manage debug levels in Avaya Proactive Contact. Prior to PC 4.1.2, if you had to debug a process or binary, you had to replace the binary with a new one with debugging capabilities. And this used to require a restart of the services in most cases. But from PC 4.1.2 onwards, Proactive Contact has this concept of dynamic debugging. The binaries have now become debug enabled, and you can turn on the debug on them runtime without having to replace the binary or restart the services. The new location of the logs is Avaya logs. If you do a ls-l here, you can see there is account.log and a separate debug.log as well. This debug.log will contain the debug messages for all the processes on which you have turned on the debug. Now let's look at some useful commands for managing the debug levels. The command for managing the debug level is logadm. If you just run logadm, it will return you an output indicating the binaries or processes on which the debug has been enabled. If you want to display the log levels for all the processes, you run logadm-d. The default debug level is 6, as you can see on the screen, for all the processes. If you want to display only those processes where the debug level is not 6 but it's set to something else, you may use the command logadm-d pipe grep -v so that we exclude space and a 6. So it will return you the same output as logadm, as you can see on the screen. To set the new debug level for a process, let's say we'll try and set a new debug level for process agent. Let's see what is the current debug level for that process right now. And you can see the agent process itself has a debug level currently set as 6. Let's try and change this now. The command for changing the debug level, logadm-p space the name of the process, in this case it's agent, space -l and the new debug level. I'll give the new debug level as 7, which is the most primary level of debugging, and it is used whenever you want to start off with debugging any process. I set it to as 7, and then I'll check the logadm output again, and you can see the debug level has now changed to 7. So 7 is the most commonly used level of debugging. For higher level of debugging, you would need to invoke some other library functions like libdsi or libutil. Now that we have enabled the debug level to 7 for the agent binary, let's see what is the impact. So I will go into the logs directory. I'll do a ls-l, and you can see currently the debug.log is of 0 bytes. Now let me try and log in an agent which will invoke the agent binary, and let's see if the debug.log gets written then. So I have an agent application now. I will log in with the agent name and the password. The agent is logged in now. If I do a ls-l again, you can see the size of the debug.log has increased now. Let me try and do more on this log. And as you see, the log is being written by the agent binary. So the debugging has started on the agent binary now. Now when you are done with capturing all that you wanted in your log, now if you want to disable the debug, that is set the debug level back to 6, you will use the same command, logadm-p, the name of the process, and the level would be 6 this time. So once you set it back to 6, the debug.log will not get written for this particular process. Let me just verify. I'll do a logadm-d for display, grep the agent process. And I can see the debug level has got set back to 6 now. So this is how you will enable or disable the debug level for a particular process. Now let's also talk briefly on where the debug configurations are stored. So for that, you have to first go into the config folder. and then you cd into the din log folder. Here if you do ls-l, you see the file at the top, the default din log levels.xml. This file stores the default dynamic logging levels for all the processes. If you set a debug level for a particular process, it will stay like that until a reboot happens. A restart of the PDS or MTS processes or even the nightly maintenance doesn't change the debug level. When the system reboots and the processes are coming up, it reads the default dinlog levels.xml file to set the default debug levels for all the processes. So this is how you will manage the debug levels of the processes. Thank you for watching this video. For any questions or feedback, you may write to us at mentor@avaya.com or at Avaya Mentor on Twitter.